And today on Off Topic with Jason and Amanda, we talk about baby clothes, um, land sharks, and ocean bears. And that will all not make sense in a few minutes. And welcome to Off Topic with Jason and Amanda. Did I say off weird? Off? Off? I think I've been around too many cows. I said awful. Welcome to Off Topic with Jason and Amanda. Hi.
Hi.
That was my worst cold open ever. I'm going with it. We are exclusively streaming on Patriot.tv, and we appreciate you coming to visit our little program where we really basically talk about nothing. But it's fun for us. So there's that. What to do. You're an under-ocean photographer and you can't swim, and we have all this equipment.
I can swim. You said that wrong.
Sorry, you can't dive.
I can.
But what you can't you do?
I mean, I have the ability, like,
right.
I physically can do it.
Right.
We're just in Central Texas.
But you can normally dive when you're pregnant.
Oh, you mean like right now? No.
Yeah, like you couldn't jump in a wetsuit and go down to X amount.
I don't have a wetsuit that would fit.
If they did make one, could you do it?
I don't know if that's allowed.
I think that would squeeze the baby out.
I think I'd just be a shark hot pocket.
That's the worst thing ever said. It's wonderful. They're all like, no, wait, let him ripen. Don't push that microwave button too early. They'll regret it. I see her often. That's awful. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know if you can, like, breathe the air that's in the tank, like, if you're pregnant. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've never tried to dive while pregnant,
No,
so, yeah.
That just doesn't sound like a good idea.
It doesn't sound comfortable.
No.
I think there's already enough stuff moving
already
around.
exhausted just thinking about it.
I just imagining you in the water because I've seen you try to roll over in bed and do things, and I help you.
Sit up.
Eventually. Like I said, I have this fascination with the fact that you sort of start to resemble a turtle after a little while, where you're just, you're like a T-Rex. What do I do with my arms? But if you roll over, what you get? Anyway, but I can imagine you in the water doing that. Like, I like to think of how liberating it would be to be a pregnant woman in space.
I don't think that's allowed.
I know it's not allowed. I don't think the G forces on the way up are healthy. But if we had a space elevator and you could go up in some sort of simulated gravity, but then go to 0 G, I wonder if that would be confusing for the baby.
Or would they notice a difference? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if you have gravitational pull in there. Like, we make jokes about the fact that you're pregnant, but I wouldn't make and say that you've created a gravitational pull yet. You're not at that size.
Wow.
You'll never achieve a little moon orbiting you. So I don't think
I have 4 little moons orbiting me all the time.
That is true. One of them is more like an asteroid. But yes.
Guess which one?
Yeah. When you name kids, you don't realize they're going to become exactly what. I mean, we don't really think about it. We name them that. And then afterwards, we're like, did we curse ourselves or did we just know? I'm just asking.
True.
Like, I don't. So, as our oldest son is the quietest, and I realize his full name, you start to look into it, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. It's totally what would happen. Anyway. You're pregnant.
Still.
Every single day it's a new, like, oh, you're still pregnant. We're getting close. We're getting so close that we have to start reevaluating. We're going through the old baby stuff. Car seats, got to get all the padding put inside. Get baby clothes. What's up with baby clothes? Like, I don't, like, they're obviously for us, not for the kid. Yeah, but no, the kid's happy, swaddled in a blanket. Okay, I know this. Okay, I know our youngest especially was happy swaddled in a blanket. All of them. Putting them in those little outfits, making them stretch. That's good too, because actually it's weird. I bet you that's helping their development. They don't like it.
When their hands get stuck in there.
Yeah, they when they become the little T-Rex. Um, just looking like why we put them in these little outfits and then we take pictures of them. Like, look at our little alien dressed as Snow White. Isn't it cute? Everyone's like, oh, it's an alien and just like Snow White. Um, they don't. The kids don't care. The outfits are all for us. There's some narcissistic stuff there. I'm just saying. Like,
And
now that I
I mean,
think
it's to
about
keep
it.
them warm and from
Yeah, but
scratching
we can
themselves with
do
their
it.
little raptor claws.
So the ones you can go buy in the 12 pack would work just fine.
True.
Right. But we go online and look for. And here's the thing. I'm a complete sucker for it. Like, I
Yeah.
love it. Like, I actually thought that's one of those things you think as a man you make fun of. And then you have kids and you're like, a little sailor outfit would be really super cute right about now. Like,
Tiny tuxedo.
right. They're like, the baby's 3 weeks old. Obviously too young to be pulled into the British Royal Navy, even in the worst of times. So, but I'm like, yeah, but and you go, oh, it's cute. I like that it's cute. I'm not afraid to admit that, but it's the part of me that won't buy jeans, but once every 10 years is slightly annoyed when I realize we have piles of clothing for babies.
Well,
And we're
because
looking through baby clothes.
they go through them so quickly.
They do go through them, but they don't go through them so quickly that we need to like install a baby, like
I mean,
outfit dispenser. I mean, they really don't.
depends on the day.
Sure, but I'm saying we don't. And the outfits are like the size of a hotel washcloth. Okay. And yeah, that's not fill the washing machine. We're like, oh my gosh, we have 14 days of laundry from our baby. Do we have a blanket we can put in with this so that the washer will be full? I mean, but we go looking for stuff still. So I asked you today, I said, hey, what do you want to talk about on the show? And you're like, I don't have anything. I haven't been looking at anything. I was like, that's not true. You've been on your phone. You're like, right? I mean, you have. Because you've earned the right to lay around right now and read books, which you've been doing. You did a lot of prep work for this school year already, so you're kind of in your nesting zone. You're within this is the first time, that you've gotten to term because nobody's trying to force you to induce your pregnancy, so you get to relax. But I was like, so what are you looking at? What was your answer? I'm going to force you into this conversation.
Baby clothes.
Baby clothes. But I love it how you're like, I know this is useless, but what was on the outfit?
Oh, I can't remember which one I showed you.
It's like globes and
Oh, yeah. It was globes and the ABCs or something.
right. Just in case the kid's a super genius.
First day of school for the other kids. Their
I think
little baby gets to dress up too.
See, because you're like, that's a dumb top. I'm like, no, that's super cute. It is cute.
First day of school outfit.
Yeah. Kid has no idea what school is. It's gonna be like 2 weeks old, but roll with it.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, the other kids are paying attention to me. And if it gets, the youngest reading early, I'm good with that. It'd be super cool if the baby looked down and was like, A, B, C, A, B, C.
Just over and over.
1, 2, 3. I may have just broken a copyright. But I was looking through your, do you do, so what are your, like I want to know, and I know Dave is like, he's not jokingly going to say no, but we do want to know, like, what's your theme you're going for here? Because you have the, what do you like, what's your mindset as you're looking through baby clothes right now?
I mean, it's kind of hard because we don't know if we're having a boy or a girl.
Oh, okay, that makes it more interesting. Keep going. I'm not being sarcastic at all. I am genuinely wondering what your brain is thinking as you're looking.
Well, with our last one, I did like ocean theme stuff because a lot of that is
Right? No, because we were in Texas. No. Go ahead. Sorry.
A
I
lot of
interrupted.
that is neutral colors, you know, gray, blue, white, black.
Oh, because we didn't know on.
Right.
Right. Okay. Go ahead. So
But this one, I don't know. I mean,
you have so many of those leftover neutral stuffs
we're
that you're.
already days away, potentially. So,
So are you? So what's your focus? Is it just like you got a different theme? Are we doing a nautical theme, or you're thinking more first day of school theme?
I don't know.
I wonder because I was thinking you're buying outfits for the baby. Baby doesn't grow for a while, so
It
this.
depends. Our babies.
But this is an autumn baby. People can say it's summer baby, but really it's an autumn baby, right? That's when it'll be out and about and wearing colors. So I would think we would put them in, try and find like a little baby cardigan. Maybe one of those little professor
Like a
jackets
little
with the
tiny
patches.
Oxford student or something.
Yes.
Just like,
Yes.
that would be so cute.
Yeah, get some patches on the sleeves of their jacket. Little professor.
Should I get to knitting?
Yeah, I'm
Knit
just
some
saying,
baby
like, you know,
sweaters.
just do something, make a theme, go with it. If you're going to go back to school, let's run the spectrum. You know what I mean?
We can do it.
Yeah. You could find, choose either a university we graduated from and get the little shirt, right?
Hmm.
And then really go to town on some jeans, work them out, make a little grad student, right? Little baby clothes,
Nice.
right?
I like it.
You like it? Yeah. 4-year-old computer that it carries around. We could do that.
Now you're making me want to get one of those machines that like cuts out the letters and you can iron it onto shirts and stuff.
I wish you could make clothing that interrupted you because then we could have a doctoral thesis. Little, oh, let's get a really boring outfit. so that way it's sort of like discussing your thesis. I'm just saying the education theme. I'm going with it. Why not back to school? No? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Because I can't do football anymore. I'm super disappointed about that.
Yeah.
It really genuinely would have been awesome to have a little NFL family. I wanted that. I like as a kid, that was like, finally I can have other fans of my team. I won't be alone.
I know we bought them all matching outfits.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't like throw them out or anything. They
No,
know.
but we bought them all and then we were all ready and then they started getting weird.
Yeah, especially.
They meaning the NFL.
Yeah, because I mean, being a Broncos fan is not exactly I'm not in enemy territory. Nobody down here in Texas is just like, oh, our arch nemesis, the Denver Broncos. So it would have been kind of like fun or whatever. Go catch a game up in Jerryland or Jerry World. Now we can't. Can't watch the Olympics. Can't. This taking so much out of it. We have to be careful. We've talked about this before, so I'm not gonna keep. But you can't even like rainbows anymore. Just gotta start thinking about who's this made by.
Yeah.
We got to go find Christian clothing companies, other things like that, so you know. Although for me, the big thing is about being made in the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want it made in the USA right here in a horrible little factory that nobody wants to be at. Textiles, man. I'm good with that. Keep it American.
I mean, I'm fine with sewing clothing, but it just takes a while.
Yeah, are there any hemp baby clothes?
I have no idea.
You know how annoyed I am as a conservative and a conservationalist that we don't have, that hemp is not on the ticket? Like, I mean, we're going into an election, right? We should be talking about. We are. We should be talking about how drilling will stabilize the dollar, right? And bring down inflation and blah blah blah. We should be talking about it. We should be talking about the advancements. It's like how nobody talks about how 99% of emissions have disappeared from the engine, that it's the brake pads and the tires that are causing the pollution, right? Like, that's the conversation we should be having. But nobody wants to talk about that because that's not the sexy thing. It's getting everybody to mine China's minerals. I'm not really sure. Everything feels so bought, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just everything. Everything feels like it's just everything is just every single freaking thing feels like it's an agenda that's been paid for. Why are we mining rare earth minerals to use in why? It's not sustainable at all. Quite literally the opposite of sustainable. Makes no sense. So how is that a solution? It's less sustainable than making more efficient combustion engines. Anyway, but hemp, like I'm still so annoyed that as a conservative, people have not glommed onto that, all because of marijuana. Like, I'm sorry, at this point, if somebody's slipping some marijuana into their hemp field, they would know that it's actually going to ruin, like any, so what are you worried about? The occasional person that's going to have a ruined crop of marijuana. I've studied hemp enough to understand it. It's like a miracle. If we had little baby clothes made out of hemp, you wouldn't have to put sunscreen on the baby. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, it would last 10 times as long. The UV protection. Not just does it provide UV protection, but it also, just like if you were to put a cotton shirt outside versus that.
Interesting.
No, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because I sit here in Texas and I look at all this farmland and I think, a lot of years, it's unsustainable what they're growing. But if they could turn around and grow fields of hemp, especially because we have 2 grow cycles here, especially with how little water it uses, and how science has not even begun to be able to exploit. Like, we know the bare minimum of what it can do, and we're not doing anything with it. Sorry, it's not a pro hemp ad. I just thought of that and realized they should make all baby clothes out of hemp.
Is it soft?
Yeah, it's super soft. I mean, fiber is fiber. It's what you do with it. You've held a hemp T-shirt before. Did it feel coarse and rough?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was like mixed with like a blend.
No. It's just the process you put it through. Yeah. No, it's just one of those things I wish we could get behind.
I mean, can we buy?
You can buy basically
it as
everything.
A fabric,
yeah,
and then we can just make our own stuff.
You can buy it already completed. I guarantee somebody makes hemp baby clothes. Guaranteed. What I'm just annoyed about is we've been talking about this lately. Are we crunchy? Right? Like, how crunchy are we? And I try to say, like, it's like the idea of somebody, everybody got all mad because Joe Rogan came out and supposedly did or did not endorse, RFK. And I don't know, RFK is a liberal, so I don't, whatever. But I'm like, Joe Rogan's a liberal. How do people not see that? He's a libertarian liberal. A libertarian leaning liberal. That's it. But a lot of the policies shifted. He didn't shift. The policy shifted. Well, it's the same with us. There are many things that we've always been, at least I could say, I've always been like, yeah, super conservative about, obviously, like pro-life and other things like that. But there are other things, I'm moderate to right-ish. I would say I've always been moderate on. Yeah. It wasn't me that shifted. Like, I'm not, for example, I'm not like, nobody should have food stamps. That's ridiculous. And you can't, and I would love it if we just had, that churches were able to provide those services and other things. But at the same time, that's just not always feasible. And I don't want hungry people. But like we've talked about that. So let's get real food to them.
Right.
Not junk. But it's, I don't know. I want to see real policy changes that are good right now. And just all of it seems so dumb and arbitrary. And we seem to get caught up in what our side is allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. I'm not allowed to say I'm pro hemp because that might imply I'm pro marijuana. When actually no one's ever asked me my stance on that. And my stance on that is, what does your state want to do? Like, I think you're a dumb idiot if you're letting your kids smoke pot. That is not healthy. There is no way that ingesting marijuana can be good for your kid. But I'd say the same thing about alcohol. Right? I mean, I'm not a teetotaler, but I'm just like, hey, you probably shouldn't give kids booze. It's probably not a healthy thing. They're already dumb enough. Like, they don't need help. They don't need confidence to go with that idiocy. Let's work through this first.
Wow.
But at the same time, I went in the military at the age of 18. So obviously there's some point you have to start making it, either forced to make adult decisions or put it into an environment where there are consequences for your actions. Yeah. So, but when it comes to issues like this, like it's oddly intertwined for no reason. That makes sense. Kind of like
Yeah.
you say, I want free. I don't want to ban books, but yes, I don't want pornography in my schools. If you can say that and have them both be that can
Right.
both be
Right.
independently true things, right?
Right.
I think we fall on the same side on that issue. So I tried to pick
I
something.
hope so. Yeah.
I tried to pick something I knew that we would both agree on. Um, but occasionally, I like to sort of post on X about how our kids, somebody will say like, "Oh, arming teachers is bad," and I'm like, "Oh, all the teachers in our kids' school are armed. The principal, the groundskeeper, they even have a huge guard dog. It's crazy." Um, but I think that on this issue, it's one of those things that I just kind of on hemp because having studied it, you know why I know so much about this.
Yeah.
So Dave, I at one point wanted to know how things worked, so I went and did an internship at an AM radio station. And when I finally got my big break, it was to do an interview. And the guy hands it to me. And he goes, "Yeah, you're going to interview the guy that owns this hemp store. Like he sells hemp clothing." And I was like, "Oh." So I went the opposite route. Like I started calling legislatures in North and South Dakota who were trying to pass hemp bills. And I started researching. So we went into this interview. What was supposed to be about a shirt store ended up being it. Like we were talking about weird. Like, did you know that a hemp seed, right, has this nutrient in it that is only found in one other substance, and that's breast milk?
I did not know that.
Did you know that if you were to take seeds and just mix together all sorts of seeds with hemp seeds and scatter them on the ground, birds will pick through just to get the hemp seeds first?
Hmm.
Even they know it has the most human soluble protein. It's like 97% of the protein from hemp is soluble.
How much of it do you need to make
Well, I'm just saying in comparison to like
fabric?
soybean or something. Oh,
Right.
but that's the crazy part. So it's a separate plant. So if you pull the seeds out, you still get the fibrous material, but the fibrous material is separated as well. You use the stalks to make wood pulp, and you use the leaves and everything, the other parts of the stalk to make the fibrous material that you would use for,
Like, do you spin it or?
I don't know the full process on that.
Okay.
That I didn't get into, but I did find out that like an acre of hemp, because it can grow in 2 grow cycles basically anywhere in the U.S. Um, it can, for the same amount of resources land wise, produce just as much wood pulp as an acre of trees and as much spinning material as 4 acres of cotton.
Wow.
And it requires 0 pesticide. And 50%, half of all pesticides in the country, are used on cotton.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right? Now that I might need some fact checking because that was at the time, and so this is like 2000. Well, I don't remember.
2000 something.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where I was looking and I was like, man, we should be getting behind this. Talk about, because I'm anti, like it's weird. I'm pro supporting farmers, but also there's a lot of corporate farming.
Right.
And so a lot of these programs are exploited by corporate farming and they're intended to help farmers. But I also don't want to pay farmers not to grow crops. Like, I don't want to, I understand keep the fields ready, but that seems silly when we have people starving around the world. And if we're saying it's to, and a lot of that has to do with why we started a freeze-dried food company. It was because a lot of the issue with food costs is logistics, right? And so you can't move products in years when logistic costs are too high. And of course, there might be a surplus or whatever. Like they're not shipping Indian rice around the world right now because they don't have it's too expensive to ship it. The thing is that hemp is one of those things that it's great as a bumper against forest fires. It's a great fire break. It doesn't require, so all those areas where they do dry scaping,
Mm-hmm.
you could replace it because hemp doesn't require a bunch of water. And the thing is, for those people who are trying to grow a drug, it fertilizes their plant. I guess there's a difference between male and female. I don't know, fertilized and unfertilized, but the point is it makes the marijuana that grows there, not worth anything.
Hmm.
So, and in order to get enough THC, which is the part of the thought that makes it a drug, right? In order to get enough THC from, again, I have no stance on the personal use of, I talk again towards children, yes, but I'm talking about just THC consumption. You could not consume enough of it through eating, inhaling, whatever, to get any sort of artificial contact high or anything like that. There's not enough THC inside the plant. So in other words, it's almost like, I don't know. To me, it always felt like Earth is very, very hard. We notice that. We have very fragile bodies. We do. We have like I should know. We have super fragile bodies, and we're on a place where, name some other animal that survives in a region that's -40, -44. That's Celsius or Fahrenheit, same temperature. And or 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Name some other creature on Earth that survives in both of those environments. There is none. Yet we thrive in all parts of the world in some way by adapting our diet, where we live, how we live, all of those things, right? It's really hard. Right? I mean, we can't go outside right now. It's too hot. There's been a heat warning, and I've got a broken thermostat, and it's too hot to go outside. We are little hot pockets, like you said. Okay, just waiting to get in the ocean for the and then you have sharks. Okay, so on top of that, you have sharks, and you have bears, which are basically land sharks, or the shark is the bear of the sea. However you want to look at it. Everyone's like, oh, it's like a lion. I'm like, no, there's way more of them than there are lions. Okay, I've seen a lion in a zoo, and I've heard there's some in Africa, but I've seen bears everywhere. Okay, so I hate when people are like, it's like a lion. No, it's not. It's like a bear. Okay, some bears aren't big enough to eat you, but they'll still hurt you. They might do it for fun, just to see the other bears come after you. Okay, that's what a shark is. Sharks and bears, right? So anyway, where was I at? Life is hard. Okay, life is hard because we have land sharks, and we have
sharks.
and sea sharks, and mountain sharks. Okay, and desert sharks. No, those are just called scorpions. I don't know what. We have snakes,
Giant spiders.
Everything wants to kill us here. Seriously, it's either wants to kill us. It wouldn't mind if we died. Do you think chickens are walking around and a human dies and they're just like, oh, no, they're like, thank God. At least there's one that won't eat us. Right? That's just it. That's it. There's no animal on Earth that's like, thank God the humans are here. Dogs. Dogs are the only ones. Dogs are like, whoa. And dogs are just land dolphins. Okay? That's it. So land dolphins are happy that we're here. Mm-hmm. Sea dolphins are somewhat happy that we're here as long as we're not in Japan beating them to death in a harbor with a spoon. Okay? And then, or whatever they use, a billy club. Okay? And then a mag light. But you go here and it's like, I mean, that's it. We have one ally, the dolphin and the land dolphin. Don't look at me like that. Can you understand what a dolphin says? No. But it plays fetch. Can you understand what a dog says? No, but it plays fetch. Will it protect you from a bear? Oh, sorry. Will it protect you from a shark? Yes. Will the land dolphin protect you from the land bear? Yes. Okay. They are the same animal. Just one of them. Okay. Doesn't like it on land that much, and the other one doesn't. Well, go in the ocean, but not too cool with it. They play. Have you ever seen a dolphin and a dog play together?
No, yes. That sounds adorable.
Yeah, they love each other. They're just like, hey, why do you have fur? The other one's like, hey, why don't you have front arms? Like, that's it. And then they play, and they're totally cool with each other.
That's awesome.
Same animal. You ever see a bear and a shark go at it?
No.
No, because bears also don't play with other bears. Okay, again, proving my point. Sharks don't hang out with each other. They don't. Unless there's some food in the area. And then they're like, I'll fight you for it. I am not wrong on any of this.
I didn't say you were.
Okay,
I
thank you.
completely agree.
In other words, other than the dolphins,
convinced.
everything wants to kill us. Everything, or wouldn't mind if we weren't here. Life is extremely hard. And I feel like God was like, hey, I kicked you out of the garden because you deserved it. And don't try to blame the snake. Okay. But here's this one miracle plant you can have. It'll give you clothes. It'll sustain you with food.
Fire.
It'll give you shelter. You can make fire. Like everything. Here you go. And then we were like, wait a minute. It looks like pot. We're only going to use it to make sails. That's it. Then we're going to give it to the hippies. God's like, why are you doing this? Do I need to send more land sharks after you for you to understand the value in this? I put a giant fireball in the sky, okay? You need protection from that. No. That's what it feels like. And it's dumb because we had the same break when it came to how they could make textiles with that. Here's the craziest part. You can mix it with carbon fiber. Like there's a process by which they put and they make concrete. They make a version of concrete of bio concrete that is stronger and weather resistant, more weather resistant than our current concrete, but can also be recycled.
Weird.
Yeah. And here's the crazy part. If we could get energy cost down by about 50%, it would cost only about 10% of current concrete. And you got to remember, we got to mine for most of our concrete now. Yeah, you mine for the different portions of it. I don't know how this show turned into this.
Baby clothes.
Sorry. But now that I'm on this topic and I actually know something, this is like the one thing I know something about. I mean, I know a lot about a lot of things and, whatever, but like this is like the one thing that I was like, I did not want, I had the great Les Carroll. I did not want to embarrass myself. I mean, this is the guy who launched Jim Rome. This is the guy who launched car advertising. Like this guy is a legend in his field. And I did not want to embarrass him. I was petrified. This guy was so amazing that we had a fire. This is when I was in college. So we had a fire that broke out, a wildfire. And all of the all of the comms went down. Power went out. The FM radio station went down. So the only way to get any all the cell towers went down. The only way to get any information out, not all the cell towers, but you know what I mean, was our AM radio station. It's a true story. And it's the Jesucita fire. And we kept broadcasting the entire time. And there was a point where the fire, I could see it from the window. There's like firefighters outside. But we were broadcasting because we were broadcasting like the Red Cross would call. It was just a cycle of phone calls to get constant updates. Because there are people who had horses and where do we put them? And, it was just all sorts of, and it was crazy. You remember, I don't know if you were there for the Jesucita fire. But it was a big deal. And he calls me and he goes, hey, I'm seeing the ash start to fall. I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, can you come in and pull the anchor shift? Because the other people who work in the day shift live right next to the station. And we had to all get within a small area because we didn't know. So we had somebody who had gone up to check on the tower to make sure it could transmit. And then once we knew that was safe and the fire was moving away from that, we just sat there, and I was so petrified that I was going to mess something up. Like I was so petrified that I was going to, you know what I mean?
Not that you were going to get stuck in the fire, but that you were going to mess something up.
Yeah, I was like, so there's like a firefighter outside the door, and he would occasionally peek his head in and just be like, give us an update. I'm sitting here going, I'm looking at smokes filling the studio and we're still broadcasting. And it was really neat because if people understand I don't think most people understand how awards work. But you can self-nominate yourself for a lot of awards. Nobody has to say, and that's what they do. You know, if you want your film to be considered for an Oscar, you don't. That's a bad example because I hate the Oscars, but you don't, you know,
Wait
release.
for somebody else
Right,
to,
you
yeah.
submit it to everyone. Right, when I worked at Warner Brothers, you would get all the for your consideration that you would give to all the members of the Academy, and it would just be tons of films that people were expected to watch, and then there were official ones that once they got selected to be in the pool that you had to watch. You know. Well, it's the same thing. You submit your own suggestion. Like, hey, so the Peabody, Peabody, no, is that broadcasting? Can you look that? I want to make sure that's correct. Broadcast journalism is Peabody. Yes, Pulitzer is. So you can be nominated. Anyone can nominate you. I've been nominated for a Pulitzer apparently, but that does it for war reporting. When I wasn't a war reporter, which is pretty funny. But just because somebody nominates you doesn't mean you make it past the nomination stage. But when they nominated us for the Peabody, it was for like a very specific subset. It was for like radio stations with less than X amount of employees who broadcast X amount of live coverage. And they took the live coverage that we had for the Jesus Seat of Fire and submitted that. And all I do know is we didn't win, but we got the top 3 because they gave us a letter of recognition for that. It was pretty neat, right? But I was so petrified the entire time that I was going to let down Les.
You're gonna have to call him after this. And
Yeah,
tell him.
every time I talk about Les, I'm like, oh man, I got to call him.
Yeah.
He's getting older. I love Les. I remember when I went in for that job because I was an older. I'd been in the Marine Corps and all that stuff, so I was an older student. And so when I went in, I remember going in for the internship. And I was like, hi, I'd like to go do an internship. And he was like, there are no internships. Bye. So, okay. I left. Next day I came back. I'm like, hi, I'd like to apply for the internship. Like, we don't have any internships. We just hire people. And do you have any qualifications in this? I said, nope, I don't know anything about radio. He goes, then we can't use you. Okay. Came back the next day. I seriously did that. Like 5 days. And finally on the 5th day, he's like, we don't have an internship program. But if you want to shadow somebody, but the minute you get in the way, blah, blah, blah. That's how it started. Within a couple weeks, it was, I was of use, And then I started cutting commercials and doing stuff and helping people and learning editing board. And I never really wanted, there's no future in radio. It's the format, and there's no future. And he knew that. He was even so far ahead of his time. Built a TV studio upstairs before anybody was doing that. And now when anybody in that area wants to go on and do a CNN spot, do a Fox News spot, do a whatever, they go to his studio. Like, guy's a genius. Anyway, I didn't want to screw that up. Keep saying mess that up. But I was so petrified of just put your horses in the ocean or something, Just throw that out there. Accidentally say where the fire's in the wrong area because you don't want to panic people. And we were getting relays directly from the Emergency Operations Center. And so so petrified. And here's the crazy part. 2 guys during the day, me at night. So I was running the board and answering the phone and doing all the talking. I mean, any button I pushed could have been the wrong button. I had been but that was my final baptism by fire. But after that, he let me do an interview. They had an afternoon show, and he said, you can fill in, do an interview. I'll let you do one interview. Here's the topic we want to focus on local businesses. And I was like, talk about a world-saving problem involving a natural plant? Understood. He's like, it's a simple thing. You're just going to talk about the store, the products they sell. I was like, do a full investigation into the origins of hemp and why we don't use it here in the United States. Understood. He's like, just find out what he sells when the store is open. Let him talk a little bit about, the street down there and the foot traffic and whether or not he's going to, blah, blah, blah. Because we would like to encourage him to advertise. And I was like, give him a full inquisition on the full uses of hemp. Understood. And then I went and did my research. And we did this interview that was supposed to be like 10 minutes. It turned into an hour. And Les afterwards said, I'm impressed and also embarrassed for you because I gave you a simple assignment to go out and help us get more advertisers. But I'm so impressed that you knew all of, that you were prepared for that interview. And I was like, thank you. Did you catch
Did you
it?
end up talking to this about the store at all?
I'm sure we brought up the store because we talked about T-shirts and other
Right,
things.
right.
But the guy, I mean, it was a T-shirt shop. One of those places you go in and there's like 8 things on the wall.
One of many in that area.
Right, but there's quite literally 8 things on the wall.
Yeah.
What do you sell? These 8 shirts at $200 each.
Yeah.
Right. They're imported from Canada. The textiles of Canada, long known to be sought after. Like the Italians are making leather bags. Canadians are all like, well, look what we can do with T-shirts. I mean, like that's happening, right? But that's what he was doing. And I missed the job. The idea of the job was, and he told me, but I didn't listen, was to show that we could highlight a local establishment. Like, I don't know if Tom's Burgers has seen a huge surge here in Waco ever since we talked about them, but if they did, you're welcome. But he, I don't know. Did you ever want to do radio or anything like that?
No.
You didn't even want to do this show.
No. It's talking.
What you're good at? You good talk, speak well. Compared to me.
I'm talking to you. I can't just like
Talk to anybody.
it's weird.
Just
I don't know, or
pretend.
just like talk to a camera. Like, oh, this feels strange.
That was a thing. I started doing that morning show with Steve and Friend, right? We're going to be doing on X. And I think we're going to stream it on Rumble. But anyway, mostly because Patriot.tv isn't running at that time. But we're doing this morning show. And in that instance, I am just talking to the camera. But I have him out the corner of my eye. And I notice because he's on the one monitor. So normally I'd be looking and I know we're having one studio difficulty today with camera 3. But if I was looking at camera 3 and I'm just sitting here and it's like super zoomed in on me, it's him and I talking to each other. Our names are backwards. But it's kind of, I have to keep looking at him. But the problem is I see that I'm looking at him. So then I have to correct myself. And I hate talking. That's why I hate doing interviews. Because I'm just talking to the camera.
Right.
You got to pretend you're not talking to the camera, but you are. And there's always some sort of weird delay. So you got to anticipate the delay and know that the question's going to end. And there's not 5 seconds of dead air. You have to formulate your answer and start talking before they're done and hope that they were wrapping it up. I've done that. You're just like, oh.
Oops.
I keep hitting my microphone, but I'm sad about it. I was never going to be good at radio. Such a constraining thing. Just think the idea of sitting in a chair talking to a microphone. Right? But that's back when I was physically able. So I could see you were into that. You didn't do the whole... As a kid, I did do that. I always wanted to do interviews. I like the... What was it like hitting the game-winning shot? Mostly because I knew I was never... You know when kids do interviews and they're like, I'm the sports star?
Yeah,
I was
you
like, I
knew
knew
that
I
was-
was never going to be the sports star. It was never like, so Jason, what was it like hitting the game-winning shot? And I'm like, well, I faked out the defense and I thought between the legs, dribbles, fade away. No, it was never going to happen. It was more like, how can I ask that question better? Tom, how was it like? What do you feel like knowing that you won the game on that shot? Did you feel the weight of it on your shoulder? Like, I practiced being the announcer. It's called understanding my limitations. I'm willing to do that. I still pretended I could snowboard at 17 when I'd never picked one up, but that was at least fantasy head stuff. I knew that. But the whole,
You could probably do it in a video game.
No. Oh, if it was a joystick?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe if I practiced enough. But, the thing is it's like when you watch me watching movies, if I get good at anything, I simulate it. I just tend to, right? So if I watch knife fighting, I get all twisty, turny. But I don't want to get good at I don't want to get good at a snowboarding game and then start doing twisty, turny with my hips. Like a twisty, turny ouchie. I don't want a twisty, turny ouchie because...
That would be really bad.
Right. It doesn't always un-ouchie. Sometimes the doctor then has to do cut, twisty, turny, or replacey. And that's also an ouchie. And that's the story of how I had my hip replaced.
Sure.
Yes.
It's no wording game.
No, I can't.
Twisty, turny, ouchie.
Just Dire Straits money for nothing. I'm telling you, that guitar intro kills me every time. That's another movie that got ruined.
What?
What was the name of the movie? The Kingsman.
Oh, yeah.
Great intro to that movie. Great styling. And then I think the first film, the end of it had
The very
the
end.
very, very, very end. You could have just stopped. And then the second film,
Or it could have been implied.
it doesn't matter. I get it.
The visual.
It was already, but like it was weird to me that the film chose to go with confetti for blood, which was awesome visual,
Right.
rather than watching something horrific for no reason, right?
Right.
But then to turn around and completely just
Yeah.
ditch the anyway. But up until 99% of that movie was like dead on, but it was the first time anybody had ever used that song in the exact way that I thought was perfect, using that intro riff.
Yeah.
Because that is, I've always gone through that and Crazy Train. What is the Crazy Train? Is that the song by Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, those two. Best guitar intros with the worst song following. Most well known and best. I'm sorry. God, music snobs are the worst. You guys are worse than any other media. No one ever walks around and is like, "Oh, you've never read Jane Eyre?" Higher? I don't know how to say her name. Oh. Never heard of Homer, have you? Yeah. I think I may have a copy of the Odyssey. Maybe I'll let you take a look at it. You can't take it home. Music snobs are the worst.
I actually loved
Homer.
reading the Odyssey in school.
I did too. 4th grade. Awesome. Yes?
I was just going to say Homer. That's the dude on The Simpsons, right?
No, see, there are no more TV gatekeepers. There's actually no good TV anymore. I'm not even going to start in on a rant again about conservatives just failing at creating consumable media at a point when anyone, I mean, if I were to go to Hollywood right now, I could get on a TV show. That's how much media they're making. I could get on a TV show. Okay? When we've reached the point where I can get on a TV show, there's too much media out there and not enough, filtering. Just saying. Somebody should do something about that. I bring my filter with me. I need some sort of
No comment.
Yeah, I know. Did they make a hemp product for that? It's useful for everything else. So how crunchy are we? Do we fall into a weird crunchy, like we were talking
I
about
don't know.
that?
I found like a crunchy quiz.
No, oh, that was awful.
It was
It
terrible.
was written by somebody who doesn't know what it is.
It was like, do you drive an SUV or a Prius? Like,
I was like, what is that? How many kids do you have?
yeah. What kind of question is that? Or like it was asking about medication and it said like, do you use essential oils or do you use blah, 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 like whatever. I'm like, neither. We ferment our own
I still love
weird
that.
things.
I still love that our doula has a $20 surcharge for essential oils. Really?
Some of them are really expensive.
I get that, but really? Like either use them or don't, lady, and include it in there. Don't just ask me. Do you want essential oils or not? Well, they sound essential. So, yes. But how crunchy, like when people do that, they're like, how crunchy are you? I don't think that the amount of, but one article you showed me was really interesting was how, the article really wasn't that interesting, but I liked the title of it. It was how conservatives are destroying the liberal legacy. Homesteading.
No, it wasn't destroying.
Confusing. It wasn't a
I
positive word.
yes, but it was not negative towards conservatives.
No, but it was changing. It was the implication was liberals had created this thing and then conservatives were moving in and taking it over. And it's true. Mostly because, we took some of the crunchiness out. Does that make sense? Like, I don't grow food in a certain way because I'm worried about Gaia. I grow it because I'm worried about my kids. You know what I mean? And if somebody wants to say, "Oh, the hippies were right about food, man," I'll go like, "Okay, yeah, you guys were right. Congratulations." You know what I mean? Like, you invented kale chips. Turns out they're healthy for you. I don't eat them because they taste like fish butt. Okay,
Not even close, but okay.
they do.
No, they don't.
They taste like the ocean. What do you think a fish butt tastes like? It's where they live. What? When they eat us, I bet your shark's like, it tastes like land butt.
First of all, I think you mean seaweed.
Seaweed. Yeah, that's what I meant. Seaweed, not kale. You're right. I mixed up kale and
Kale
seaweed.
tastes like whatever you season it to taste like.
Kale just sticks to the roof of my mouth. Kale tastes like plastic wrap that slowly dissolves and then tastes like a leaf. I've had your dried kale too, but the dried seaweed is what I was referring to. You're right.
That also does not taste like fish butts.
It does.
It doesn't.
Okay. What does fish butt taste like to you?
I don't know if I've ever eaten the butt of a fish. Just
Mm-hmm. I don't eat seafood because I'm allergic to it for a good reason, because it's gross. Okay. But seaweed tastes like fish butt.
I know I'm weird. I like seaweed. Sorry,
You like seaweed?
I do.
You do?
Like the little dried. I don't know, or like around sushi.
Yeah. A little sea bear down there waiting for you when you go to get it. Grr. Get back up in the land shark. It's the same thing. I'm not getting let go of that metaphor now that I've realized that there's because mountains are just the same as trenches in the ocean. They're like the same height difference when you start to balance it out. We
It's
call
inverted,
sea level,
but
but when
yeah.
you talk about the sea of the floor, it's just inverted, right? It balances itself out. I think it's the same with animals. I haven't figured out what the giraffe of the ocean is yet, but when I do, that's it. Because see, here, I don't have the patience to go learn all of the sea animals like you do, because you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Right. I like to label things by their use to me or other
What is
comparisons.
the blobfish of land?
I don't know what a blobfish. See, you've already said something. You have to say it the other way around. Right? Is there a fish that gets up in everybody's business? Because we can call that the Karen fish. But that's not
Probably.
humans. That's humans. No. I'm trying to think, like, what's the cat of the ocean? What sort of likes us? But, the seal.
No, they're too playful.
No. They're too playful? Cats are playful.
Yeah, but cats like tolerate us.
Nah, it depends on the cat.
Most cats. I'm not talking about like the bottle fed cats that our children are playing with right now.
That are still available? Yes. You're not talking about those. You're talking about...
Like the average house cat that people are like, come here, kitty. And it's like, "Rah!" And they're like, oh, you silly little cat.
Yeah, I don't think people understand cats. I don't think people know how to read. I don't know why I know how to read cats, but I can, which is weird, but I can. But most people can't read cats. They're like, oh, he's just feisty right now. I was like, no, he just really doesn't like you. Like, he knows what goes on when no one else is around, okay? And he's communicating to us, right? Like, you ever have a cat hiss at you and everyone's just like, oh, the cat's mean. And I'm like, no, the cat's warning you to get out. Okay?
You don't want to be friends with her.
Yeah, the
Please.
cat knows what's going on. Okay.
She's a Karen.
Yeah.
Get out while you can.
Yeah. Just what it's. I'm just saying.
She's gonna burn the turkey.
So I don't know what the ocean equivalent of a cat is. Then I guess if I can't. I mean, it's just it's some of it's easy and some of it's not. I'm trying to think like what is a version of a orca on land. Doesn't have to be that big, but I guess a rhinoceros. We keep talking about sea animals. It's gonna get so confusing for episode descriptions when people are just like, "Why do they talk about sea animals?" And neither of them know any of thing. Like she does, but she doesn't talk about it because he won't shut up. He's whatever a sea giraffe is. That's how I would describe him. And usually tall. That's it. That's all I got. I don't know what else we have in there. But so continue to look for baby clothes. And, whatever you want to get, I think that it's good. I think we should be able to change our baby out as much as you want. And
change the baby out or change
the
their
clothes,
outfits?
the outfits. And, it's I understand
really
the idea.
wanna
I
do a
wanted to,
baby
for once,
swap.
bring an episode full circle before we closed. I just wanted to make it sound like if somebody tuned out the entire show and they were like, what did I miss about baby clothes? I don't know.
They're not made of hemp,
Yeah.
or maybe some are. We haven't found them.
I wasn't paying attention. There was a land shark in the trash cans.
You have a shop that sells baby clothes made of hemp.
Yes.
Send us an email.
Yeah, but no pot.
No,
It's weird.
I don't think you can make clothing out of that.